If you've ever booked a trip online, there's a very good chance you've used Booking Holdings, maybe without even knowing it. Today, we're digging into their latest quarterly report to figure out what it tells us, not just about their business, but about where travel is headed for all of us.
You know that feeling when you finally click confirm reservation? Well, have you ever wondered about the giant multi-billion-dollar business that powers that simple click? That's what we're going to do. Look under the hood using the company's own numbers to see how this massive engine is really running. So here's our game plan. First, we'll hit the big headline numbers from their report card. Then we'll dive into what's actually driving all that growth. After that, we'll decode their master plan for the future, this thing called the connected trip. Of course, we have to look at the challenges on the horizon before tying it all together to see what it all means.
All right, let's get right into it. First up, the report card. What are the big, eye-popping numbers that really tell the story of their last few months? Okay, let's just start with this truly massive number, $9 billion. And that's not for a year, that's their total revenue in just one quarter, just 3 months. It just gives you an incredible sense of the scale we're talking about here. And, revenue is one thing, but what about actual profit? Well, they pulled in a net income of $2.7 billion for the quarter. So the takeaway is pretty clear. Their business isn't just huge, it is incredibly profitable. So where does all that money come from? What's the secret sauce? Let's peel back the layers and look at the core engine of their business to see what's really driving these incredible results. So how do they do it? It really all starts with this one metric, room nights. In just Q3, people like you and me booked 323 million nights in hotels and homes through their platforms. That's a colossal number, and it's the absolute foundation of their entire business. And this tells a really clear story. On the one hand, you've got this just massive volume of bookings. But look at the trend on the right. That's an 8% increase from this time last year. So the key thing here is that they're not just big, they are still growing at a really healthy pace.
In all those room nights, well, they translate directly into dollars. This chart shows what's called gross bookings, basically the total sticker price of all the travel they sold. It jumped from over $43 billion to nearly $50 billion in just 1 year. That's driven by more people booking and, prices being a little higher too. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a big strategic shift happening inside that number. See that huge blue slice? 72% of their business is now what they call the merchant model. That's a huge jump from last year, and it's a critical piece of their strategy. But what does that even mean? Okay, so here's the deal. Instead of just being a middleman who connects you to the hotel, Booking is now increasingly handling the entire payment themselves. You pay them, and then they pay the hotel. This is a huge deal because it gives them way more control and lets them offer us, the travelers, more ways to pay. It is a key piece of the puzzle for where they're going next. So why is handling payments themselves so important? Well, it's a core part of their grand vision, something they call the connected trip. You see, they're not just trying to sell you a room anymore. They're playing a much, much bigger game. And here it is, right from their own report. They call it the connected trip. The whole idea is to move beyond just booking one thing and instead manage your entire travel journey, from the very first search for a flight all the way to the taxi ride home.
So what are the business goals here? It's pretty simple, really. It's all about making the travel experience so easy, so seamless that you keep coming back to them. They want to boost loyalty, get you to book more often, and, this is the big one, get you to book directly with them. The idea is to build a real relationship that goes way beyond just finding the cheapest price.
And we can actually see this strategy working in the data. Get this, over half of all their room nights are now booked through a mobile app. That is a huge number. And it's critical because people who use the app tend to be way more loyal. They're the perfect audience for this whole connected trip vision. But of course, a business this massive doesn't operate in a bubble. The report also highlights some pretty significant storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Yeah, it is definitely not all clear skies ahead. The report also lays out some serious challenges that kind of complicate this rosy picture of growth. First up, a problem inside their own family of brands, Kayak. They had to take a massive $457 million impairment charge. Now, in plain English, that's the company basically admitting that the Kayak brand isn't worth what they thought it was. And the reason? The report says it's getting way more expensive to buy search ads to get customers, and that is just crushing Kayak's profitability. And then there's the other major headwind, a growing wave of regulatory pressure, especially over in Europe. I mean, just look at this list. You've got countries all over the continent investigating their business practices. And on top of all that, the EU has officially labeled them a gatekeeper, which is a special designation that comes with a whole new level of very strict rules. This is a multi-front battle that could really restrict how they operate.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. We've got strong growths, a super ambitious strategy, and some very serious challenges. So what's the big picture takeaway from this whole report?
It really comes down to this classic push and pull. On one side, you've got these powerful tailwinds pushing them forward. People are dying to travel. Their mobile strategy is working like a charm, and their direct payment business is growing. But on the other side, they're facing some serious headwinds, a struggling brand with Kayak, and this significant growing threat from regulators. Which really leaves us with this final question. Their entire connected trip strategy is about getting bigger and more integrated into every single part of our travel lives. But that very ambition is exactly what's attracting all this attention from regulators. So the ultimate challenge for them is going to be, can they build this amazing future that wins the loyalty of travelers without crossing the lines that governments are drawing in the sand?